that's my older one. I have another one too. Yeah, I have a 9-year-old too. That was $5.
Someone has a white one.
Oh, I know. Oh, I can't. That was my vice president.
Like the water splash.
Daddy, can we take Kerrie up first?
What means it? What's that mean?
I don't know.
You don't know what it means?
It means I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
Business to say, Dad. I don't either. Can you look at Megan now?
Oh, they
now, it's my pleasure to introduce, in his first time ever as Master of Ceremonies of these proceedings, Mr. James Hayden.
Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see such a great turnout tonight. We're honored to have our graduates here. We're honored to have all of our parents and relatives and grandparents and friends. It's been a long road from kindergarten for some of them all the way up to 6th grade. 7 years you've been with us, others shorter. It's been a wonderful time, and we appreciate all of the good times and hard work that all of you have put in to reach this far in your educational career. I wanted to share with you tonight just a brief thought of my own before we began with the ceremony. and hopefully a little something that the graduates can take away with them as they go off to junior high and off to high school and off to higher education. It's a story about my son Michael, and I've talked to some of the boys about our t-ball practices. And I heard him out in the yard the other night, and he was saying he had his bat, he had his ball, and he was looking, and he was saying to himself, I'm the greatest baseball player that ever lived. And he threw up the ball, and he took a swing, and he missed. And he picked it up, and he tried it again. He said, I'm the greatest baseball player that ever lived. And he missed again. And after about 4 or 5 times of saying this and trying it, he scratched his head, he picked up the ball, and he looked at it. He picked up the bat, and he looked at that, and he tried it again, and he missed again. But this time he said, wow, what a pitcher I am. And that's what I hope that maybe some of you can take away with you, is that we have a sign over there in the office. It says, I can do that. And you might not be able to do it the first time, and you might not be able to do it the second time, or the third, or the fourth, but if you keep trying, and you never give up, you can do that. There are some famous people that have been like that. Some of you that you might not know. Walt Disney, who started Disney World, went bankrupt several times. He failed several times. Isaac Newton, a very famous man, was horrible in elementary school. His teachers would be looking at him tonight and saying, bye. Babe Ruth had records for home runs, but he also holds the record for striking out. So the message we have there is never give up, folks. Now, how do we as family and parents and friends help our students to achieve these goals? Just a short message for those of you out there. If our children live with encouragement, they learn to be confident. If they live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If they live with praise, they learn to appreciate. If they live with jealousy, they learn what envy is. If they live with sharing, they learn to be generous. And if they live with friendliness, they learn that the world is a nice place in which to live. And now, Mrs. Dawn Sullivan, our PAC chairperson, has an award to present that she's going to tell you about.
Before I start by presenting this award, I'd like to congratulate all the 6th graders and wish them the best of luck at South next year. This is my second opportunity to present this award. It doesn't happen very often. The last time was about 4 years ago. This award is for perfect attendance. I'm not talking about perfect attendance for grade 6. I'm talking about there's a young woman in this audience that's been here every day since kindergarten. That's quite an accomplishment. So I'd like to present this award to Sherilyn Sylvia.
I'm glad she was here tonight. We have a wonderful program in our drug awareness courses that we have called the DARE program. And our students have been studying in their classes with our Officer Mike in this program each week for approximately 14 weeks. And our students have been able to write speeches. And one of the speeches that was written, we'd like to share with you tonight. It was done by Lindsay Ritchie. I'd like her to come up now.
DARE. I think the DARE program is great because it influences and encourages all the children to make the right decisions. It teaches you when to say no thank you and when to walk away. All the DARE officers are nice and understanding. They can always make me laugh, too. If I have a problem, it's nice to know I can go to the teachers or even Officer Mike. I'm never scared to talk to them or the teachers about problems because I know they'll listen and understand. DARE is one of my favorite activities in school. We as students appreciate all the hard work and dedication of the DARE officers to help make this world a better place for all of us.
It's nice to hear from our leaders of tomorrow. Well done. We're now in that part of the program where we'll be awarding the diplomas to the students. We encourage lots of picture taking. Mrs. Brown is going to start us off.
I'd appreciate it if you just hold your applause until the end, and when the class is finished, then we'll congratulate them as one entire class. Nicholas Augustin. Irma Bessero. Courtney Cullen. John DeRosa. Elinette Garcia. Trevetta Green. Kenneth Harris. Joseph Hurley. Elizabeth Jenkins. Aaron Johnson. Timothy Claptor. Elizabeth Lagerstadt. Jeffrey LaPorte.
Next is Kelly. Next is Kelly.
What is it?
Kerrie Larkin.
Just you.
Melissa Leahy. Jameson Laterno.
I said don't snap.
Anthony Montero. Stacy Burrell. Jonathan Castro. Lindsay Ritchie. Reagan Roger. Cole Rogers. Peggy Samuel.
Oh, goodness, they should.
Madeline Harris. Linda Sylvia. Larry Texera. Jennifer Wilson. Joseph Young.
He's never dressed up like that.
Neil Diaz. Charlie Stewart. Charles Washington.
And now we have the honor of Mrs. Meadis' class.
Brady. Julie Swanson.
Teresa D'Angelo.
Sherry
Whatever.
Durst. James Eastman.
Seems to be going pretty slow.
Josephine Evans. Linda Finn. Melissa Ford. Ashley Greenwich. Shannon Bird.
Peter Costin.
Scott Johnson.
Isn't Scott Johnson called? Oh no, I'm thinking of Aaron Johnson. It's Peter Costin.
Peter Costin.
Elizabeth Jordan Lamore.
Jordan Lamar.
What's that? Jameson or Amanda? James
James O'Hearn. Winston Ross. Carolyn Sylvia.
Hey, they didn't call Melissa or Peggy.
Jean Singer.
Meadis, Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Egel, and Ms. Reed, who also, in a way, graduated tonight, and they've really done an outstanding job with their students, and we appreciate all that they've done. So let's give them a round. Our next part of the program, we have with us tonight Mr. Thomas Frizzell, who was at one time a distinguished member of our faculty here as one of our teachers, as our community school director, and is now at Massasoit State College, Community College. And you probably read about him in the newspaper. He's an English teacher by day, and by afternoon, he is one of the most outstanding coaches in this area of the country, with many winning seasons and national championships. So I'd like to have him come over and give a few words to our graduates and some words of advice.
No? How about now? How about now? Got ya? Alrighty. That was a very nice introduction from Mr. Hayden. And as I look at the graduating sixth graders today, it brings back a lot of warm memories of my time at the Davis School. To this day, Mrs. Meadis is still the best math teacher I ever had in school. My ability to write today is because of Mrs. Brown. And I just thought they were great teachers when I was here, and it's really nice to come back and to be able to see them. And you'll be able to do the same thing. They'll simply be just a little bit older, that's all. We just got back from Tennessee. Massasoit baseball team went to the Junior College World Series, and that's not something that happens to local schools every year. We felt very fortunate to be able to get down to Tennessee. On the plane ride down, I had two of my sophomores talking. They had been to this stadium before, and they were saying how there were alligators in back of the field. And all I could think of was, having a couple of pitchers go out there at night looking for alligators and coming back and calling them lefty because they wouldn't throw the right arm anymore. But let me explain to you about going away to a tournament. When you get there, there's usually host families, if you will, that meet the team, take them out to dinner, and more or less let them know what attractions there are in the area. And we were very, very lucky. The host family that took care of the Massasoit team was extraordinarily wealthy, lived in a mansion. Not only that, the host team had three beautiful daughters. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous, 18, 19, I think 22. So naturally, my team paid a lot of attention to the host daughters. We got invited out there for a barbecue. And I don't know if any of you have ever really seen a mansion before down in the south. The beautiful columns in the front, and we were led through the mansion. So we went out back. There was a swimming pool, almost as big as this room. And it was one of the most impressive sights that I've ever seen. But the only thing that kind of threw me off was, we're used to blue water up here. This water seemed to have brown patches in it, and I asked the host, I'll just call him Jim, I said, Jim, what's that? He says, those are alligators. I said, you gotta be kidding me, you keep alligators in your swimming pool? He says, yes, I do. So I called the whole team around, and I said, fellas, you gotta be careful. And then he spoke for a minute, he says, I noticed some of you players have been looking at my daughters and so forth, and he said, I'm willing to make a deal. If you can dive in this pool and swim through the alligators, I'll give you one of two things. Now get ready for this. I will give anyone who does $1 million or they could marry any one of his beautiful daughters. Now, I'm looking at the alligators, and I'm looking at 20 crazy college kids, and I don't have a good feeling about this at all. Now, we had a game the next day, and I went over to the barbecue table, started to load up on ribs, and the next thing I see is a splash in the water, and it's my #1 pitcher. I never saw anybody swim as fast as this kid did. And all I can see is alligator jaws chomping. Now, Jim, the host, he's just tickled pink. He figures it's one less ball player to bother his daughters. He gets out of the pool, he makes it to the end, he makes it in one piece. I go flying over. My assistant coach goes flying over, and Jim kind of walks over. He says, "Son, I'm very proud of you. Now, which do you want? Do you want $1 million? The kid goes, "No." He says, "Which one of my daughters would you like to marry?" He says, "None of them." He says, "Well, son, what do you want?" He says, "I want to find out who pushed me in the pool." He made it on a leap of faith. How many of you know Charles Barkley? All right. Let me tell you about Charles Barkley. I love the way he plays. He plays real hard. And Charles Barkley, I think, is only 6'5", 6'6". And in the world of 7-footers, that's a lot of inches. Charles Barkley made a statement in the press that he wasn't a role model for children. He's an athlete, gets paid for his skills. He said, kids, young adults like you, should have real role models. And I'll tell you the two examples of role models that Charles Barkley gave, and I agree with him 100%. The first thing he said was, your parents should be your role models. And he's 100% right. Because here they are in this hall tonight while you graduate, and they're not here for any other reason other than the fact that they love you. And for that alone, they deserve your respect. That's someone who should be your role model. Now, some of you have been here at the Davis School for 7 years. Who taught you to read? Who taught you to write? Who taught you to do mathematics? Do you realize that those are 3 skills you'll take through life with you? That reading will open more doors than you can imagine? That your ability to write will help you communicate? And I still haven't figured out what mathematics is for, but it's got to be good for something because they make you take it every year. But the point is, when I talk to college students, I say to them the greatest teachers in the world are in the elementary school. Why? They teach you to read, to write, and to do math. And for that, they deserve your respect, and they are true role models. One of the big things on the street today is don't diss me, don't diss me. Give me your respect. That's what everybody walks down the street and wants, is respect. You have to give it to get it. I think your teachers here at the Davis School have done a magnificent job teaching you. They are outstanding role models, and they deserve your respect as well as the affection that you've developed for them over the course of a year, over the course of a number of years. They're true role models. Your parents and your teachers. You guys owe them a round of applause. And I'll end on this. Don't kiss your teachers, but go home and give your parents a kiss. They deserve it. Good luck. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Before we have our closing from Mr. Shea, there's another part of our staff and our faculty that affects your children. We have a outstanding Chapter 1 program, and Mrs. Harmer and Mrs. Woodward down in the back there have been with your children, some of your children, for 3 years. And I'd like to recognize them and thank them for all of their efforts that they've department. And Mrs. Hopkins is hiding down there, and she is one of our right hands, left hands, and everything else all wrapped up in one. Without her, our school wouldn't function as smoothly as it does. She's helped many of our students and been a real rudder for our Davis School. We'd like to thank her for all that she does. It's been a pleasure speaking to you at this graduation, and now Mr. Shedd.
Thank you. I wish to say to this graduating class the same thing I've said to 21 graduating classes, and that is that wherever you go and whatever you do, all the days of your life, you'll always be David. And we know that you'll always make us proud. So from all of us,